Like 1 hour, 4 hours, 2 hours, more or less, more or less. Mm, like when you wake up until you go to sleep. Okay, you okay. That's important because we saw this problem in the young people that we depends on the music. So music is present in early every part of our daily life. In many people listen it for long periods of time while studying, working, or relaxing. This raises an important question. How does prolonged exposure to music affect the human mind and behavior? To explore this topic, we conduct an interview with a psychology student who explained the cognitive and emotional effects of extended music listening. We also surveyed students to understand their listening habits, and we reviewed academic sources to support our findings. This presentation summarizes the main results of our interview, surveys, and research, focusing on how long-term music exposure can influence attention, memory, mood, and overall cognitive functioning.
These are or archetypes. The principle is to romantic that psychological, emotional, and social effects associated with constant music listening. And the more specific objectives is to explore how the use of music for mood regulation influences the development of emotional strategies and to identify the signs of music dependency and its consequences. And finally, it's to determine how excessive music listening affects social interaction dynamics.
So this is the methodology that we are going to use: survey, interview, and action.
The first is the survey. For this, we designed a survey that will help use to learn the frequency, habits, and psychological, emotional, social, and auditory consequence associated with the constant music listening, and into order that identified partners. And the survey is applied for 106 participants, have 25 questions on Likert scale and two open questions. And the target audience is students from high school and the university level.
Before we start with the strongest points of the interview, we want to show you a little bit of this one. Ay, a ver, ahí. No, ¿qué es aquí? Aquí. Bájate. Listo.
Okay, and let's continue with the third one. That is, what is more concerning for the brain? High volume of the, or the numbers of hours we spend listening to music, even if it's a low volume.
I mean, both of them matter. If you're like listening to music, it doesn't depend the volume that you're listening to it, and then the amount of hours that you're listening to music. But I feel like it affects in different aspects of it. So if you're like listening to music in high volume, it's gonna damage your ears, and then it's gonna increase like your stress hormones that is cortisol. So that's gonna happen if you're like listening to music in high volume, and then in that case, if you're like listening to music for a long period of time, it's gonna cause this cognitive fatigue that your brain is gonna like not stop working, but it's gonna decrease the way it usually works when you're like not overloading it with a lot of, of things that you're doing at the same time, and it's also gonna reduce your mental clarity.
Okay, thank you. That's an excellent insight. I didn't know the fight with the cortisol in the high moon. It's so interesting. Overexposed to music can affect our memory, for example, making it
Está
hard
enfermo,
to
estaba
remember
enfermo.
the new information.
Yes, there's like studies that a lot of like people have conducted that shows how having this auditory stimulation interferes with the working memory. And the working memory is the system that we use, like the brain uses to hold information while learning. So the music with lyrics can affect your memory, and then that's because the brain competes between understanding the words that you're listening in the music. So it's like you're trying to you're still like sing to the song if you don't even notice, and then that takes away the other part of like learning and the cognitive processing of processing new information. So over time, this can make it harder to remember the details that you're learning, and then it can like mess up the way that you encode your new facts, and then how you're we can say like you're mentally organized because I don't know the brain organizes information in certain ways. So if you have this like hearing stimulus, it's gonna like mess that up in a bit.
So this was the presentation, and we are going to exposure the strongest points that our interview with. Her name is Jackie Malagon Moreno. She's a student of psychology in the University of Chicago. She's now in her last semester, so she helped us to give us these points. The first point that we want to say is the impact on concentration and mental fatigue. It's not a myth. Listening to music for a long time can indeed affect the ability to think and concentrate, especially if has complex lyrics or a very strong rhythm. Cause of distraction. The brain must divide its resources between the task being performed and processing the music, which can lead to mental fatigue and a reduction in learning capacity. Actually, she said that when you want to study, you don't have to listen music like death metal or rap. You need to listen music like ambiental music or classical. Cognitive risk, volume versus time. High volume can damage hearing and increase stress hormones like cortisol. Long duration causes cognitive fatigue and reduce the individual's mentally clarity. The danger of constant headphones in use in young people. Social insulation. Using headphones almost all day on transit walking makes people less likely communicate and socialize with others, which can lead of insulation or depression.
Well, I'm sure many of us listen music while studying or do homework, so please pay attention to this. The negative effect of memory and studying. Interference with working memory. Auditory simulation, especially music with lyrics, in, inter, interferes with working memory. The system, the brain used to retain information while learning. Studying dependence. Constantly, constantly studying with background music can create a dependence. If if the person has to take an exam in a silent environment without music, they are likely to perform worse as their brain is accustomed to background noise to focus. Now, the importance of music type. Instrumental music, the classical, tends to be less distracting and can be calming. This allows listener or focus more of learning. Fast lyrical music. Fast, loud music with lyrics demands more attention and increases cognitive load, making it harder to process new information. The dependence of feeling good. Hidden overload. It is possible to feel emotional good, but relaxed from music, dopamine release, association with happy memories. But at the same time, the brain may be cognitively overloaded due, due to the processing effort, especially after hours or listening.
So, as a part of the action, we try to implement an interactive activity. So we create a mural. So it can be for more easy for the students, just like the response. Um, in this mural, the students were invited to report how many hours per day they listen to music and describe how this habit influence affects their mood, actively active, during activities and overall well-being.
Then we collect approximately 70 answers of students. Actually, this day when we did the action, we can saw and compare the answers of the students, and we believe that all students listen to a high range of music daily.
And these are some of the answers we get. More of the people listen like 3 or 4 hours per day, and some people just put like 8 hours, 9 hours per day, and this is how they feel, and it's the and they get together that the uh, more of the students using the music for studying and for feeling good.
For the results of the survey, we choose three more important questions. And the first is, I listen to music for more than half my waking hours, and if you can see, like 35% say often, and in the state level say for always, a veces.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
The second is I use music to avoid having to think about or deal with certain tasks or problems. And this is more varied the results. Say never, sometimes, and always in some more things. And the last question is I use music to drown all of internal thoughts or feelings I don't want to comfort. And this surprised me because the majority say never, but in the other questions have more variety in the answers. The research on the impact of prolonged exposure to music on the human mind and behavior reveals a dual nature to this habit, showing both as used for emotional regulation and significant risks at the cognitive and social levels. In summary, music is omnipresent and used by students to regulate their mood and daily activities, but it's essential to be aware to risk of mental fatigue, memory interference, and potential social isolation associated with prolonged exposure and high volume.
Uh, the cognitive and well-being despite many of the students use music or turn music to feel emotionally good, relate, or avoid intrusive talks. So this can constant exposure can lead to hidden cognitive overload. The other result for performance and concentration, listening to music for a long time, especially with complex lyrics, And strong rhythm affect the ability to think and concentrate. So many people think that if you listen to music, you can like learning or memorize the things, but it can be like bad. And memory and student music with the lyrics interface with working memory, and constantly use student with background music can create a dependence to a student like this, but it can have a bad result as well.
Now, the conclusion is music is a fundamental part of people's life, but especially young people. Many people listen to music at work, school, studying, relaxation, and sometimes to fill emotional voids of the moment. Listening to music as is advantage and disadvantage, but this depends of the factors such as time, volume, and even the type of music we listen we listen to. Without a doubt, music is one of the greatest wonders in the world.
I want to add something about the conclusion. We don't want to misunderstand us. We are not against to them listen music. It's essential for many of us, but we want to show you that it can affect our cognitive processes. So it's good to listen music, but everything in excess is bad. So we must have a balance to it. Thank you. So we are moving next to the activity.
Ya lo pico ahí.
Ya.
Ok. Espérame, no tengo internet.
Ay, apúrale.
El internet de aquí está de la. Nice. Carga, carga, carga. Ya cargó. Espérame, no lo conecté.
Mejor mándamelo, ¿no?
Listo. Ya.
Ay, ¿qué es eso?
Ah,
Gracias, Castropo.
¿yo qué es el internet de desea? Ni siquiera me aparece.
Conectar automáticamente porque vamos a conectar automáticamente porque así debe estar
Sí,
desconectando.
pero cuando lo activo se desactiva solito, güey. Esta madre funciona cada vez que quiere. Un genio.
Ay, no se ve.
No, niño.
Ya.
Son 10.
Tú dices las preguntas.
¿Mm?
Tú dices las preguntas.
Ahí dicen.
Pero tienes que leerlas. ¿Por qué?
No. ¿No lo leyeron? ¿O sí?
Es que aquí aparecen las preguntas, en esos teléfonos no van a aparecer, aquí van a aparecer.
Pues que las vean, ¿no? Tú léelas, güey. Tu inglés está fluidísimo. 2, 3, 4, 6. Faltan.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Son 10.
6, 7, 8, 9, 9.
10, el profe.
¿El profe también cuenta?
Sí, güey. ¿Ya están todos listos?
Pues yo creo que ya no.
Pues.
Pues uno.
Sí, ya.
Aquí dice que es 9. The first one is, what is one of the negative effects of listening to music for a long time?
¿Qué? Sencillo. Puede ser.
The response is affect the ability to think and concentrate. Okay. Let's move in. High volume can damage hearing and increase stress. Hubieras puesto true or false. True or false?
La neta me entretuve mucho haciendo este juego.
Sí,
Puse unas cosas bien raras.
Okay.
Para que esté
True.
dinámico, güey. Y hay unas más adelante que también así para atrás.
What is another negative effect or articular abuse? It makes you more hyperactive, helps you relax and decrease stress, can cause depression and isolation. You become incredibly social.
Así es.
Okay, so good. Next one.
Hay muchas de las
Studying constantly with background music helps in exam performance. True or false? ¿Por qué pusiste tanto tiempo?
Porque soy alguien comprensible con los demás. Tengo corazón. Y nada más hay dos respuestas, güey. Por eso puse tanto tiempo.
De hecho, esta está muy... Está mal esta pregunta, pero bueno.
¿En serio?
What type of music helps concentration the most? Reggaeton, rock, pop, or instrumental music?
Esta está regada.
¿Sí? Ah. ¿Se les fue en internet? Ah,
Yo creo que es
bueno.
la
Sí, es tu culpa, Castro. Bless you. Bless you.
you.
Fast, loud music with lyric demands more attention and increases cognitive load. True or false? Demands more attention and increases cognitive load. Okay.
¿Por qué hicieron respuestas, mano?
Ahí ya, ahí está. Why, even though music is used for emotional regulation, prolonged use still poses a risk of mental fatigue because of the type of the music, by intensity of the volume, due to the excessive use of hearing aids? I don't know.
Claramente es la verde. Claramente.
Claramente. Está difícil.
No. Eran tres
Eran tres
respuestas.
respuestas.
Tenía truco.
Studying with music constantly avoids creating dependency.
¿Dónde quieres esa información si no había de dónde agarrar? La neta sí la batallé.
Es en internet, ¿verdad?
Se mantuvo neutral, güey. Lo bueno.
Why does fast music with lyrics affect you the most? Ya me cansé de leer.
Ok, ya se ven las respuestas.
Because I don't know English. Because I don't know English. Yo ese. Okay.
Ya, la última.
And the last one, is it better to use sound canceling headphones with low volume? 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 Ah, okay. Güey, duplicado de Intercajut.
¿Eh? Está bien padre. Ah, ¿no le puse título?
No me pusiste título.
Es la primera vez que hago una Kahoot. Eso está es mi defensa, es la primera vez que hago un Kahoot. Bueno, ¿qué seguía? El póster.
Así póster.
Ah, sí.